Welcome back to Occasional Randomness and our continuing rewatch of that amazing, or some might say frelling amazing, science fiction TV series Farscape. I'm your host, Eric Scott, and joining me as always, my fellow co-host, someone who doesn't mind sharing, Jason Johnson.
It's too bad that I can't sing because this would be the perfect place for a chorus of just the two of us. You know, because there's two Crichtons and two of... Anyway, welcome to Occasional Randomness, folks.
Yeah, they totally dropped the ball on the musical with the Crichton duet, but, you know.
Oh, you're right. That's a perfect spot to throw that in. He can sing with himself.
Have like a little montage and a little music, maybe a dance number, it'd be great. He can partner with himself, they could dance around, it'd be great.
They should be in sync because they know what each other's thinking.
Yeah. Of course, they both want to lead, so that wouldn't work out too well. So
yeah, as we'll see.
So some quick housekeeping before we jump on into stuff. We're going to change our format just a tiny bit. If you've been listening to our prior episodes back on our Incomparable days or the reposting of stuff here on Occasional Randomness. Before, we used to do 2 episodes per podcast, so now we're just going to scale it back to just 1 episode. And from time to time, that will give us the opportunity to do a different discussion after Farscape about maybe some more current things that we're watching. Some other TV show, movie, or whatever. But this time around, it's just the 1 episode of Farscape, since most things we're currently watching either just started as of the recording of this podcast, like The Mandalorian Season 3, or some stuff is almost or not quite or halfway done yet, like Bad Batch, Picard, stuff like that. So,
yeah.
But at some point, we'll have more than just this.
For those who've been following us since, like as he said, the early days, the theme of Jason hasn't seen it, we'll probably run through a lot of that too. So,
but speaking of things we've both seen, we have both watched Farscape Season 3, Episode 7, Thanks for Sharing. So that's what we're going to talk about right now. We start off with Moya rendezvousing with Talyn, who's been seriously damaged. We see Crais unconscious aboard Moya being tended to by Jewel. And then we move to our latest crew drama. If you watched last episode, there are 2 John Crichtons arguing over who is the clone and who's the original. Aeryn basically gives up trying to listen to them or try to figure it out, and just gives them both a different colored shirt to wear so she can tell them both apart. And since that doesn't make for good voice podcasting, for recap purposes, we'll call them by their shirt color, Black John and Green John. You've been warned, and I'll try to keep that consistent through this thing.
That's not going to get confusing at all.
No, and we'll see. Next episode, as we'll talk later, yes, hopefully. But right now, it took a bit getting used to. Anyway, so Dargo, Chiana, and Rigel, no Johns, are on the planet Moya is orbiting, Canvia, trying to purchase some chromextin, which is a substance that can heal Talyn. Aeryn sends Green John to watch Crais and sends Black John to help Stark, who's on Talyn. Rigel comes so close to securing a deal for the chromextin, but because they require such a large quantity, the dealer they're talking to says she needs the security officer's approval. While they're waiting for that to happen, a couple of men enter the refreshment house that they're all in, and one of them comes on to Chiana, thinking she's some kind of sex slave. More on that later. Which Dargo naturally does not like. Dargo beats the crap out of them.
As he does.
But the dealer walks out, as he can. But the dealer walks out, wishing Rigel luck. Dargo just attacked the security officer. Oopsie. Bad first impression. Back on Talyn, Stark tells Black John that everything is offline, and Crais' neural link may be the only thing keeping Talyn alive. Back on Moya, Green John goes to Jewel, who's still working on Crais, and persuades her to test him to prove that he is the real Crichton and Black John is the clone. Green John then leaves, and of course, that's when Crais suddenly wakes up and grabs Jewel by the throat, because he has no idea who she is. She manages to stab him and lets out a scream, causing Green John and Aeryn to rush back in. Crais is shocked at the sight of Aeryn, as he and Talyn left before she was resurrected back in the first episode of this season. But he recovers and tells everyone that Talyn was attacked by peacekeepers. They want Talyn back.
Dun, dun, dun.
Da-da. Drama. Back on the planet, Rigel is talking with Canvia's sovereign, Prelanoth, just so happens to be the father of the security officer, Tolvin. Tolvin's sister, Sarova, appears to be on Rigel's side, but Tolvin believes that they're going to use their chromextin to power weapons, and does not want them to be sold to them. So Prelanoth tells Rigel that there will be no sale, and gives Rigel 1 Arn to leave the planet. Back on Moya, Crais explains that Talyn was attacked by a squad of peacekeeper ships, and was hit with something called an immobilizer pulse. They barely managed to break free in Starburst, but that used all of Talyn's remaining energy. Aeryn says that Talyn was attacked by a Peacekeeper retrieval squad, trying to capture Talyn, not to destroy him. Back on the planet, Rigel has gotten to the transport pod and wants to leave, but Dargo and Chiana are still at the refreshment house, trying to find another source of chromextin. Back on the ships, Crais tells Aeryn that he and Talyn accessed a Peacekeeper database, including Aeryn's personnel file. He shows her a recording of the time her mother, Xalax, came to her as a child and told her that she was conceived in love, not like most Peacekeepers to just fill the ranks. And that is what made Aeryn special. She and Aeryn's father, Talyn, and remember that's what Aeryn named Moya's offspring after, her father, they all wanted her and love her. Crais says it was both Aeryn and Xalax's files, but he found no information on her father Talyn at all. Xalax's last notes on her file detail a promotion. Yep, you guessed it. The retrieval squad is under the command of Senior Officer Xalax Sun.
It's a family business.
Meanwhile, back on the planet, Talyn is told that the ships have not left and orders concussion missiles fired at them. Moya and Talyn are shaken by the missile fire, and Moya's sensors are disrupted. Black John has a cunning plan, and Moya and Talyn descend towards the ground, where Talyn targets his main cannon at the building Talyn and his family are in. Talyn's ready to keep going, but Prowlnoth objects and orders the missiles to stand down before asking to speak with Black John face to face. So Black John comes over and asks what Prowlnoth's problem is, and Talyn objects, while Serova is again apologetic. But Talvin's men grab John, or Black John, and a facehugger-like creature is attached to his face. Or head, I guess. Headhugger? Anyway, it can sense lies and will kill him if he does lie. So they ask him if he's here to cause them problems, but Black John swears they just want the chromextin and nothing else. They'll get out of here as soon as they get it. They let him go, and Black John, Dargo, and Chiana are still hanging out in their refreshment house when Black John gets a call from Serova. She wants to meet him alone and discuss the chromextin. They meet, and she takes him inside her refreshment house and tells him that Talyn will not allow the sale. She says that she believes Talyn will continue to try to stop the sale when a putty bomb explodes, injuring both of them. The others take an injured Black John back to Moya because Serova says that she must tell no one the two of them met and leave her there. As the crew leaves, Serova is approached by an ominous, anonymous figure
that we'll never see again.
Yeah, that has no part of the story whatsoever. Back on Moya, Jewel looks over Black John and says he will need a blood transfusion due to a cut artery in his leg. So Green John volunteers. She tells Black John that he and Green John are both perfect copies of each other. Green John asks to be filled in on what happened on the planet as he plans to pay them a visit. Speaking of which, Talyn is telling Prowlnoth that Serova was with John, and he was severely injured, when the unscathed Green John enters, acting as nothing had happened. Talyn says that he has witnesses and that Green John was probably conspiring to take power. Green John walks over and puts the facehugger on his head and swears he did not meet with Serova, which is technically true, and was not present at any explosion. When Green John doesn't die, Prowlnoth tells Talyn to give Green John what he wants and go away. As the others start to give the chromextin to Talyn, Crais starts screaming. The chromextin is poisoned. Jill's analysis shows that it was mixed with chlorium, a substance that numbs leviathans. Which, by the way, for you longtime listeners or watchers of the show, is a callback way back to Season 1, Episode 2, IET.
Wow.
And our very first podcast of this rewatch of Farscape. So go back and listen to that for fun. Jewel and Chiana have a bright idea to use Moya to filter out the chlorium, as Moya's bigger and can handle it, as Aeryn and Black John head to Talyn. Aeryn says that the retrieval squad must be near, and if they're here, then Talyn will have to starburst away and won't be able to go back to Moya. Green John and Dargo meanwhile visit Talyn and stick the facehugger on his head for a change. Green John asks if he poisoned the chromextin, but he says no. Prowlnoth does, however, say that in rare cases, disciplined minds have been able to fool the facehugger, but he says that Talyn is not a liar. Talyn says that he did not have anything to do with the bomb at the refreshment house, and again he appears to be telling the truth. But when Green John says that Talyn must be a good and loyal son, the facehugger starts to react, and Talyn refuses to answer. But Prowlnoth forces him to answer, and he says that he doesn't intend to dishonor the family. But that must be a lie because the facehugger kills him.
So it turns out it was actually a mind flayer.
Yeah, right. Dun, dun. Prowlnoth tells Green John and Dargo to leave. Serova then tries to avenge Talyn's death by firing missiles at the ship, but Prowlnoth says no, Talyn caused his own death. And then, for reasons that we'll find out later, Serova pulls out Prowlnoth's breathing tube, kills his guard, before then ordering the missile attacks to continue, which results in Talyn and Moya forcing to climb higher into the atmosphere to escape the missiles. They sense a Peacekeeper scan, and Talyn is forced to starburst immediately away, with Black John, Aeryn, Rigel, and Stark still aboard. Moya then starbursts away with the rest of the crew as the Peacekeeper ships arrive. Back on the planet, we see Serova morph into some sort of shape-shifting creature. The creature is met by none other than Zalek's son and reveals that it was the one who placed the bomb and poisoned the Crichton before killing Serova after the bombing and disguising itself as her, which now explains things. The creature reports that Talyn only got a third of the Crichton it needs, and Zalek says that Talyn will be weak for some time. It's just a matter of finding them. Back on Moya, Green John tells Dargo that Black John took Winona, his gun, and his notebook. How dare he? Green John also says that Black John set it all up just so he could be on Talyn with Aeryn, and says that he had better be taking care of her. Speaking of which, on Talyn, Rigel is of course angry that they can't contact Moya, and of course wants food and to be shown to his personal room. Crais kind of puts that to bed by saying the food will be rationed and Stark and Rigel will have to share a room, much to Rigel's annoyance.
And Stark's.
And Stark's, yeah. Aeryn tells Black John that her mother is in command of the retrieval squad, and she does not think that that's a coincidence. She says that she will not let the Peacekeepers capture Talyn, even if it means she has to kill her mother. Dun dun dun. The end. Alright, just a little bit of trivia for this episode. The scene of Aeryn's mother's nighttime visit was initially mentioned way back in Family Ties, which was Season 1's finale, Episode 22, if you're keeping score at home, and now finally shown here as a flashback. The Canvian Truth Seeker, or Facehugger thing that we kept calling it, was modeled on spiders and lobsters due to Dave Elzey's, their creature effects supervisor's, phobias of them. And except for the lobster part, I'm right there with you, dude. Spiders are creepy. And the entire cityscape of the planet was created by their VFX partner, Logic. No shots were filmed on location.
Just a bunch of refreshment houses.
That's right. Just a bunch of places to go drink. All right. So, what'd you think of this one?
I think it was a really good episode. It was another, I can't say bottled on a planet, but you know what I'm saying? Like we were stuck on one planet trying to recuperate episode. But with all that said, it was a good chance to dig into the, I guess we can't call them clones, the copies? Crichton copies?
Duplicates? Yeah.
Yeah. But either way, we got to kind of absorb that. We got to get the crew back together with Talyn and Crais. And, as we'll discuss later, split, which makes for an interesting dynamic going forward this season. So I think a lot of good things happened here and a lot of interesting shakeups that we'll be dealing with for the next several episodes.
Yep. And I guess one of the quasi shakeups, we start out with Joel treating Crais and later doing like sciencey things. So I guess she's the replacement Zan, because for doctor and scientisty type things, or the writers haven't gotten any new scripts yet, or change the existing ones to account for Virginia Hay, the actress's departure from last episode.
Probably a little bit of both, right? I mean, you've got to have a doctor on the ship to deal with the medical stuff that comes up. Always seemed kind of weird that fell to Zan, but I guess as a scientist, it kind of made sense. And Jewel made the mistake of mentioning that she had medical training. I'm putting scare quotes around medical. So I guess the job's hers. But again, probably also related to the fact that there's a lot of scripts that are already written with Zan in mind that they're just having to shoehorn Jewel back into, right? And,
yeah, because as we talked about way back whenever, that it wasn't her idea to leave the show that way, because her makeup, the skin coloring on her to make her blue was causing her to have like major organ problems. So she left because she had to. So that probably kind of caught people off guard, and they already had stuff in the pipeline, so to speak.
Yeah, and until they find a hard like hologram to act as the physician, it'll have to be her. So.
And for some reason, I did not initially think of the Voyager doctor. Somehow I went to like Red Dwarf's Rimmer when you said that. So, I don't know.
I'm covering all the bases. So
yeah, although he wasn't a doctor. But anyway.
Yeah, spoiler alert, I haven't seen Red Dwarf. So
okay, well, there you go. That's a whole different topic. Yeah. So.
There needs to be like a bingo card or something for this at this point. But anyway, let's go on.
But yeah, I mean, Jules mentioned she's more like a scientist than like a doctor. So yeah, she's kind of fumbling around trying to heal Crais, which I guess she does a good job because he's still alive, and handles Crichton's, whichever Crichton, I can't remember now, that Crichton's injuries. So I mean, she knows at least her way around the equipment.
Yeah, I mean, to crib from other shows, I guess if you've got enough scientician training, you could your way around any medical or science emergency. So
yeah, because you know all the sciences. Yes,
yeah, it's all the same stuff. Just wear a lab coat, you'll be good.
And like I said before in the recap, we get to our main issue from last episode, 2 Crichtons. And of course, they're taking it about as well as you would think they would be. So,
yeah. Which is to say, no.
Which is not at all. Yeah, right. And I do like Aaron's temporary solution for telling them apart. Just give them a different colored shirt, because it's a TV show, it's visual, and you can see that they're different because they got a different shirt, which I guess is good until laundry day or the next time they change shirts because they can't wear the same color because that'll throw everybody off. But then this won't be a problem because like most shows around this time and even today, the characters wear the same stuff forever.
Which raises the question of why Crichton even had different color shirts for her to choose from, right? He only ever wears one color. So why were there other colors on the ship?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's from past seasons, right? He has like a closet for each season, and then this season is going to be the green shirt. Last season was the black shirt.
so somewhere on Moya, there's just a room of like last season's wardrobe.
Yeah, it's so big, right? They can just have a whole rooms full of last season's clothes.
I just picture them every season they move to a different room. I'm gonna leave my stuff and move to a new room.
Yeah, you never know, right? Just because it looks the same as last time we saw it doesn't mean it's the same room.
That's right. We never see them walking there.
Yeah, they just show up there. And I guess but going from what is a good idea to like a why idea or why plot thing is, I know Chiana's exotic looking because everybody keeps mentioning it all the time, but why does every place they go, especially bars, everybody thinks she's some kind of prostitute or something? I mean, is it like, does she give off pheromones? Like, what's the deal? Although it's nice to see that Dargo still cares about her and will defend her. Not just because it's their crewmate, but because they had the relationship before. And of course, that gives him a chance to kick some butt, which is always great. Even though, of course, it's the wrong butt to kick this time.
Yeah, insert drama. Although, I think that you think by now that with this crew, they would have realized that the more people they send, if you send more than you absolutely need, it's never going to work out, right? If you sent Rigel and Dargo, it would have been fine. But we sent Chiana, and it was bad. It seems like, two's company, three's a crowd. Every time we get too many people on a planet, bad stuff happens. And Chiana seems to be the one that has the bad luck, or is written to have the bad luck.
Yeah, because for some reason you think they would figure out that, Chiana and bars don't mix.
Yeah, just not her scene.
Yeah, or it's too much of her scene, and that causes all the other problems. So, yeah. And some other cool things. It was a really good scene with Crais discovering that Aeryn's alive, and Crichton just kind of dismissing it. It's like, yeah, we got more important things to talk about. We can fill you in later. We need to know what's happening to you right now. Because obviously he had no idea that she was alive because they left at the end of season 2 and didn't see the beginning of season 3. So.
Right, yeah. Which, Crichton's had some time to adjust to and get used to having her back and, whatever. Whereas Crais kind of was traumatized by it and then whatever. So is it me, or is there something like weird dynamic between Crais and Aeryn the last couple of times they've been around each other? I don't know. I don't know what the show's going for there.
Yeah, and that's true because, obviously, at the beginning of the series, she screws up or he thinks she's contaminated by dealing with a non-Sebastian person, Crichton. So he, throws her out of the service and, blackballs her and says, if I see you again, you're going to die. So, you start from there.
Right.
Now, is it because he's also now a loner? Like, he's been kicked out by, he's had the same thing done to him that he did to her, right? So now is it kind of like oops, I kind of understand what you must have gone through, or you're the only other Sebastian that I know that's been kicked out of the Peacekeepers, so we have to bond, or we have to be friends now because we're in the same boat, so to speak? I don't know.
I'm starting to, here's conspiracy corner, I guess. I don't know. I'm starting to think that it has something to do with the fact that Talyn likes Aeryn and Crais is bonded to Talyn. And so he's getting like a backfeed of the attachment from Talyn.
Yeah, could be, because the pilot Leviathan symbiosis, or not, whatever I call it. Yeah, we've seen it happen before with Pilot, that he's kind of feeling what Moya feels, and yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll see where that goes.
Could happen, yeah. Or Crais now wants to have some sexy time with Aeryn, and there's John in the way, so, he got to,
Yeah.
show some jealousy. I don't know.
I may mention that in a bit.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
But keeping on the Crais Aeryn thing, they do kind of bring back something that it seems like Crais was trying to tell Aeryn something back at the end of season 2 in that last episode before her untimely death and later resurrection. But so just because I think it makes sense, I'm going to assume that that's what he told her here about her mother and father, wanting to conceive her out of love, not a peacekeeper duty, which is also kind of interesting because Aeryn has had a couple of relationships the same way, like out of love. Like with the one Sebastian scientist that was working on Moya last season, or with something close to Sebastian, like person Crichton, right?
Yeah, so was he trying to tell her that part, or was he trying to tell her that it was her mom that's after him? One of the two. But
Yeah, or does now he want her to stay around because he thinks he can use her as leverage against his mom who's hunting him?
right.
That could be too. I guess we'll find out next episode because they can't forget about half the crew for episodes, hopefully.
Yeah.
Although as Farscape's done before, you never know. But we'll get to that point.
Yeah, we'll time jump for like 2 years in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And then I guess while we're keeping on the interesting or cool things about this episode, the bar, or I should say refreshment house scene with Black John and Serova was kind of cool. With the putty oozing around the floor, they had some like really cool camera angles and like visuals of maybe like what the putty's looking at or how the putty's visualizing things as it's oozing across the floor. I didn't quite at first think what they were. I thought maybe it was like some kind of like life form or some kind of like eavesdropping thing, or maybe it was going to get close to get ready to attack them, which of course it did, maybe more or less when they combined finally. But I thought it was, your typical cool Farscape, like organic technology kind of stuff.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that they were different colors, I kind of had a feeling that they were going to mix and explode, because a lot of times your different color explosives that you mix together would be different colors. So that was immediately where my brain went, but it was still a great scene. And like you say, the tech in Farscape, it's always nice to be reminded that it's not our tech, right? And that's always kind of a cool thing. I will give a call out to the awesome early 2000s CGI animation on the putty. That was kind of a cool throwback. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, because nowadays they would just do like CGI or like it'd be like animated into it. This looked
weird, right?
Yeah, like what was it? Practical stuff that they made like roll down a slide that looked like the floor, or is it like CGI, or is it like stop motion? You couldn't tell what it was, but it was cool.
I kind of, and again, I'm not an expert. I kind of felt like it was practical that they tried to CGI on top of. So it was almost like a both. It wasn't like today's CGI. It was like screensaver level CGI, So
yeah, it was 23-year-old CGI at this point, right? So,
ow,
or something like that. 22. I don't know, anyway, but yeah,
ouch.
Old, long time ago. Yeah.
That pains me. Anyway.
Yeah, or old. That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, I'm old. Anyway.
Oh, I'm right behind you.
But hey, despite both our Johns not really wanting to be around each other, or only wanting there to be, there can be only one, when push does come to shove, though...
He takes off his head. No, wait, okay.
Yeah, right. No. He cuts his head off, and...
Did not see that coming.
Big energy surge happens, and... Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they do care about each other, and they'll do the right thing to help each other if one's, hurt. So that's nice. Plus, also, it makes it kind of more important since, Jules' analysis can't tell which one's the clone and which one isn't. So, yeah, I mean, if you were the clone, you would not want the original to die necessarily, and vice versa, probably. I don't know. But basically, what you have to know is just for all intents and purposes, they're the same person, effectively.
Yeah, so not a clone as much as like a replicator mishap where you have the same output.
Yeah, because I think even one of the Crichtons said that, yeah, it's not a clone per se because the clone wouldn't know anything. This is basically like an exact, like it knows everything you know up until the point you got cloned or twinned or replicated. So it's like, yeah, it's not the same.
You both live the same life.
Yeah, I mean, basically you're identical up until that point, and now you're different. So it's like even like identical twins. It's it's you up until 5 minutes ago or whatever, So, and then Farscape does what Farscape does, where it throws in some weird twists on you, to keep you on your toes. I definitely did not see the multiple, in this case, twists in the ending part of this episode coming at all. I thought, probably like everybody else, or at least along with the crew, that Talyn was the one that poisoned everything and set everybody up. Don't know what he was hiding that got him killed by the facehugger thing. I don't know, maybe he wasn't going to jointly rule with his sister, like she didn't want to either. That's the only thing I can think of.
I agree with that completely. I do think it was a case of he was too obvious of the villain, right? When you start an episode out and you've got a guy who obviously you're intended to not like up front, and he's the bad guy throughout, he's therefore not the real threat. If I'm thinking like a Sicilian with death on the line or something, but don't put the iocane powder in front of me. But I don't quite get the end, and that's the one that I didn't see there, because he could have just admitted to whatever the issue was and lived, and instead he held on to the end, lied, and died. Right? Took the mind flayer to the head. So
yeah, because unless you're Scorpius, who's totally evil, then yeah, everybody else could be off for who knows, right? He could just be partially
Yeah.
evil, not totally evil.
Or, yeah, I mean, he could be a jerk without being the villain of the episode, right?
Mhm.
So,
And then we get the twist that probably nobody saw coming, that Sarova kills her father, his guard, and then like attacks everybody. Yeah, and then gets revealed to be some shape-shifting creature, which was the cause of everything. The bombing, killing the real Sarova, because I guess she's gone. I mean, we don't see her after that, so she's probably dead. She poisoned the Crichton, and of course, more importantly, it's working with the Peacekeepers, and more specifically, Aeryn's mother.
this one got me completely. I at the end of this episode, I kept thinking, "Oh, the show's over, right?" And then we go into another scene, and I was like, "Okay." And then there'd be another scene, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And so I did not expect to have this twist where she came out and the shapeshifting creature was weird. So yeah, we haven't seen one of those before, right? I mean, we've seen lots of aliens, but I don't remember one like that.
Yeah, I thought it looked familiar, but probably not, because I think we would have seen like shape-shifting. I don't think we have seen them. Yeah.
Well, at first I thought it was, and I'm gonna sound terrible here. What's the ones not the peacekeepers, but the not the Scarens, but the other ones that Scorpius is half.
No, he's half Scaran and half Sebastian.
So, okay, so it's the Scarens I'm thinking of. At first I thought it was a Scaren, but because it had that same kind of snout, but I don't think that's what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, they kind of like that long neck or long head kind of thing. Yeah,
Anyway.
but yeah, I don't think we've seen this kind of thing before, which is kind of cool. So now we get to have that, because obviously, it's still around, and Aeryn's mom's still around. So of course, they're also not going to talk about them ever again. So they'll be around.
Right. So now we can't trust anybody we see because it could be a shapeshifter.
Yeah. So now could be three Crichtons next time.
Ooh, the show's going to end with just everybody's a Crichton.
Crichtons all down the line,
all the way down.
And of course, because in every good role-playing game or TV show, what you want to do at the end of everything is split the party. So half went on Talyn and the other half on Moya, which I'm sure is not going to cause any kind of problems. But at least we have one Crichton on each ship now, so that'll make it easier to tell at least that they're different. So if we see a Crichton on Talyn, it's that one. See a Crichton on Moya, it's the other one. And of course, it also has some wonderful drama, because it's driving the Crichton on Moya nuts, because he's not with Aeryn because he loves her, not the other fake one that's on Talyn.
Yeah, it's the perfect solution to the two Crichton problem. Although part of me wonders, can they get re-merged together later so that one person has the memories of both ships and crews? Because otherwise it's going to be confusing. It's going to be like, well, you were there. Why don't you remember? It's like, well, that wasn't me. That was the other job. Yeah. Once there's no longer two, what happens? It's going to be interesting to figure out.
Yeah, because obviously this is science fiction. Anything's possible. They can merge together somehow. They can find somebody else that can merge them together, because someone knew how to take them apart. But then you have the same kind of problem. They're both arguing who's who. So now if that would happen, they could find someone to merge them together. They'd be arguing which one would be the one to get merged and which one would be the one to stay there.
I keep thinking of what's that mutant X-Men character, the multiple man or whatever, where he makes doubles and rejoins them and all that.
Mm-hmm. Multiple man. Yep.
That's kind of the scenario. Yeah, scenario I'm thinking of here.
Yeah, because that would be cool. Yeah, Madrox. Yeah, because I always like that, because each dupe has its own personality and its own memories, but he absorbs them and gets his memories back, and he learns stuff that way or whatever. So could happen. It's science fiction.
Yeah. I think he won Jeopardy or something that way.
Yeah, right. Anything's possible. All right. So one final question for you: do you think Aeryn's mother knows Aeryn is there, or is this some kind of peacekeeper loyalty test for Xalex to see what she would do if she comes across Aeryn? Aeryn doesn't think it's a coincidence. Do you think it's a coincidence?
No, I think I side with Aeryn on this one. I think that her mom knows that she's there, and that's why they sent her. And the interesting piece will be, is she fully committed to the Peacekeeper cause, or is she there to also try to save Aeryn, right? So it'd be interesting to see. Is she a true baddie, or is it, she's ulterior motives?
Yeah, it does add some extra drama to things. She's going to be, obviously she's said at least however many years ago, 20, 30, I don't know, that, she loves Aeryn, and, her father loved her, and that's why she's here, and she's special, and, we could be a family if we could, but we can't. But so she still loves her. She's going to try and maybe spirit her away. Is she going to defect? Who knows, right? So extra fun next time we see her of which way she's going to go.
Yeah, we'll just add her to the crew too. It'll be great.
Yeah.
I'm sure Crichton loved that.
Well, we have two ships now. You have to fill up both of them with crew, right? So,
Yeah, we could just, Talon's growing, so we can just keep expanding Talon to have more rooms.
Yeah. which would make Rigel happy. Yeah.
Right.
More food, more rooms. That's what make Rigel happy.
They'll have to stop and pick up some crackers somewhere.
Yeah. Well, no, they don't matter. And we told you last episode, or our intro episode, that this would be coming. So
You can't break tradition, man.
if you haven't seen it, go back and watch. Was it season 1? Where was it? Go watch. It's called Crackers Don't Matter. Find it, watch it. You'll understand.
Or you won't, but that's okay. Come back anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's the gift that keeps on giving. It just will not. Yeah, the joke will never end.
Nope.
So. All right. Any final thoughts? I think overall this is a good one. It ranks up there with one of the fun ones. It wasn't boring. It wasn't in the not so good category. It was a pretty solid episode overall.
Yeah, I think it was a solid episode. I mean, like I said, it was. Sometimes the episodes feel constrained, right, when we're planet side for an entire episode. But I think we got enough character movement and important outcomes that it was definitely a good episode, even if they weren't actually out in space doing stuff.
Yep, a not quite bottle episode, but still good.
Yes.
All right, so that is it for episode 7. So next time, obviously, is season 3, episode 8. Surprise! No, it's not the name of the show. It's the name of the next episode is called Green-Eyed Monster. So if you've been listening for a while, we kind of play a guessing game of what does that title possibly mean. Again, Jason's never seen this before. I have, but I can't remember anything anymore because, like I said, it's been 23 years. So taking a wild guess here. I mean, I'm pretty sure none of the cast has green eyes that I'm aware of, so it's got to be something else. The first thing that comes to mind is usually jealousy is called the green-eyed monster, and that's exactly the name of the episode. So I'm guessing it involves jealousy, which again, we have 2 Crichtons who are jealous that each one exists, and one's got Aeryn, one doesn't. Or now we got Crais that might be trying to horn in on Aeryn and Crichton. I don't know. Could be jealousy there. Or knowing Farscape, it could just be literal, and it's a monster of the week with green eyes that they encounter next time.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think Shanna has green eyes. It's just that all the blue throws you off. So I'm totally making that up. Yeah, I'm going to go with something weird between Aeryn, Crais, and Crichton. Maybe Crichton's the jealous one between the two of them because they're both peacekeepers on the ship. Or it's Crais because of whatever weird crew dynamics. And like I said, maybe Talyn's impacting his feelings towards Aeryn. And therefore you get kind of this weird thing between the three of them bickering back and forth or some jealousy there. Or it could be between the 2 Crichtons, right? Because, like you said, I don't know. I'm going Crais, though. Crais is my wild card.
Yeah, because, we just got through with our last love triangle, which we completely hated. So,
well, at least now Dargo, there's no kids, no children involved. So anyway.
Yeah. Dargo, Chiana, and Dargo's son, Jothi, that was just, well, anyway, go back and listen to it. It was, we hated that. So, but at least these characters we like. So hopefully if there's some kind of love triangle or quad angle,
yeah,
because you got 2 Crichtons, I don't know. It's dodecahedron, whatever. At least these people we like, and we'll probably enjoy that plot line.
Well, we either like them, or in Crais' case, we like to dislike them. But either way, they're good characters. So.
Maybe it's Scorpius. We haven't seen him in a while. Maybe they'll show back up again. Who knows?
Wait, does that mean there's two Scorpiuses because there's 2 Crichtons?
Well, if you count Harvey, the one that was inside Crichton's head, which...
Yeah, but you got Harvey 1 and Harvey 2 now.
We do?
Well, there's 2 Crichtons.
That's true. So if Harvey's in his head still, there could be 3. There could be 3 Scorpiuses. Scorpii? What's the plural of Scorpius?
Scorpii, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen... No, actually, Harvey was hanging around a little bit, right? So, yeah, there could be... That's true. There could be...
Right.
Wow, okay. Cool. I didn't think about that. All right, anyway. So that's your homework for next time. Season 3, Episode 8. And we'll see you then. Goodbye. But for things we have seen Farscape Season 7. Nope. Let's try that again. Farscape. Hey, it's been a while. What do you want from me?
Hey, you know what's funny? When I went to search for that here's a tangent for you to cut out. When I went to search for the episode on Shout Factory, that's exactly what I typed in with Season 7.
That thing sucks to search for anything. It's like I have to find one thing and then back into where I want to be.
Yeah, it does amaze me that at the bottom of the page where it says, hey, you may also be interested in this, the next episode is not there.
Yeah, it's like, Okay, yeah, season 6, yeah, season episode 6. I saw that one. Okay, and then like season 4, like no, where's season 3, episode 8? That's what I want. What? The next one in the sequence. That's the one I want to watch. Yeah, no, nothing.
Now I don't know where we were.
Yeah, okay, I know. Okay,